Hello and welcome to another fun drafting video. And so what I'm going to do here is show you the first set of GC 1, 2, and 3. The third one kind of says GCQ on it, but it's still GC3. So basically what we're going to do is here's your worksheet. The things that you need, so I've got my divider / compass and compass, and I've got a couple of different scales to use, and then I have some straight edges, etc. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to square up with your, and I don't have a T-square necessarily on this, so this is as good as I can get for right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up here, and I'm going to tape it down. So that's what I would recommend for you, is tape down your paper, right? So square it up with your drafting machine, and I'm going to move these two out of the way. And we do that, and here you go, and here you go. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, this is GC1. Really, I know the first thing says parallel line with a compass, through a point, but the first thing that we talk about in the book is actually bisecting, bisecting a line, bisecting an arc, and bisecting an angle. Now to do that, if you imagine this is a compass because it happens to have lead in it, if you're going to bisect anything like a line, let's just start with our line here. If you want to bisect anything, you need to go past the halfway point and you strike an arc from each end, right? So you can see me striking an arc, hopefully, from each end on here, like so, okay? Then all you have to do is take your pencil and your straight edge, not a scale. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but anyway, a lot of the things that we're learning are things that we can do eventually on the computer. The computer does the same thing. I drew all these on AutoCAD, so anyway, it'll work both ways, but this is kind of sketching and we're learning how to do it. So if you want to cut something in half, you go over past halfway if it's a line or an arc, and you strike your arcs, and then you can draw your line. The same thing goes for our arc here, and I'm going to go over past what I would consider the halfway point. You may pick a different point, a different distance. It's just random as long as you keep them the same. And then I'm just going to mark like that. So we do that, and then you draw your line. So it's very simple. So if you want to cut a line in half, or if you want to cut an arc in half, then you take your compass, whichever kind you have, doesn't matter which, and using the same measurements, you go past the halfway mark, strike an arc from each end, and where they cross, you draw your line. You'll notice it makes a perpendicular bisector. Okay, so if you ever hear that reference, that's what it means. Okay, the third thing that we cut in half, or bisect, is an angle. Now, on an angle, it's a little different. You strike an arc that covers both lines. And in the book, or in the video, or whatever that I have on there, it actually shows that, you change your radius. Well, I don't bother. I just keep the same random radius, and I strike my arcs from, all I'm doing is giving myself the same point off of each, same measurement off of each leg, so that I can make it work. And then all I have to do is draw a line. Alright, so here we go. Draw a line. Okay, so that's bisecting an angle. So to review that, all you have to do, strike your arc so that you catch both there, just like here. Here, I'll go ahead and do this one, if I can do that. There you go. Strike an arc, and then strike an arc from here, and strike an arc from there. Try to be as accurate as possible, and Alright, now, so we've done two angles, we've done a line, we've done the arc. So the arc and the line are real similar. The other items that are on here are drawing a parallel line and a perpendicular line from, or either, well, through a point related to your line. So you start with a line, you start with a point. So a parallel line, what you do, and for some reason I like using this little divider guy. So anyway, what I like to do is I take this and I bring it out here. And I go out just a little bit. This kind of helps you do a better job of making it parallel. And I strike an arc up like this. Okay? Then you take your compass and you come over to this arc line, or the point on the line that you made with your arc, and strike an arc up this way. Now if you'll notice, right here, what I want to do is I want to transfer this distance over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my compass like a divider here, and I'm going to take this and mark it like so. And so what that does is that gives me a parallel line. Now, it will be more parallel. It's only going to be as parallel as we can humanly do with our tools that we're using. So you get it pretty close and you'll be fine. So you get the idea. I want to make sure you're doing the concept. So that's the main thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strike an arc from here, like so. I'm going to strike my arc back over here, and then I'm going to transfer my distance right like this. Okay, and then I'm just going to take it over to the other side like so, and that will give me my parallel line. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm making reference points. Okay, so I from this point I strike an arc so that I get a reference point here. Using the same radius from here, I strike it back, and that gives me this point right here. Well, now I have an actual distance that I can transfer. So we set it to that, come over here, and boom, there you go, and you draw your line as parallel. Okay, so that's parallel. Perpendicular is 90 degrees, right? So if you look at this, this and this are 90 degrees. So how do we do this? No, you don't just do this and try to say, hey, I can draw a 90-degree line. No, I'm going to mark it wrong. Because my concept that I want you to get from this, and some of mine aren't that great. I think I fixed them, but I'm not totally sure. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to create a line segment. Okay? From the line that you already have. Well, when you do that, that means it's equidistant from here and here, right? Okay. So then what can I do? Well, if I take this and move this out to where it's over halfway, right, past halfway, remember our line down here that we cut in half? Well, this is the same idea. I can do that. From those two intersections, I can do it. And there you go. Alright, so all you gotta do is draw this line down through here, and there it is. And now you have a perpendicular bisector. Same thing as I did here, it's just that I had to go through a certain point. So, and the cool thing about some of the stuff that I'm teaching you here is that you can apply this to a lot of cool stuff, like in construction. If you're trying to figure out make something perpendicular, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You could actually do something similar to this. You just have to rig up some kind of full-sized, type one of these compasses, which you can use making a string or a nail in a string or whatever. You can do a lot of things to make it cool. So anyway, basically, you make your line segment with your compass, set it off of your line, strike your arc from both sides, like I did here, and then draw your line. It'll go through the point, through like so. Okay, so that's GC1. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Alright, moving along. We've got GC2. Now let's see if there's anything different on here that we need to look at. So, parallel line, we looked at that one. So remember, all you have to do on the parallel line is do this, strike an arc on your line, bring it straight up like so. Use the same radius here, strike your arc back, transfer your line, your distance here, like so. Alright, and then what do? You take your straight edge, not your scale. Don't use your scale as a straight edge. Now if you have a ruler, that's different, because usually you can make a straight line with those without hitting any grooves. That'd be the only measuring instrument I'd use. So that's parallel. If you want to bisect a line, like I said, it's real simple. Go past the halfway point, strike an arc from each side, each end, and where they cross, you're good to go. And there it is. Perpendicular, and it cuts that in half. Alright, angle. Pretty simple. Strike your arc. Oops. Let's make something smaller. Strike your arc. Try not to pop your thing out like I did. Anyway, so here, you get it. Alright, there it is. Okay, cut in half. Boom. Okay, so last thing, right, so you got an arc. Show you that one real quick. So we did an angle, we did a line, we do an arc. So past halfway point, right? Like I said, doesn't matter if these overlap. I'm not worried about that. You do that, you do this. Strike your arc from both ends. The same arc, obviously. And there it is, cut in half. Okay, so I just showed you the parallel, perpendicular, really straightforward. So if I was in class, I'd say, so what did I ask you to do? I asked you to draw me a line, draw me an arc. Alright, draw me an arc, like so. And now I'm going to cut this little line segment in half, same thing. And just so happens that I can use the same radius just because I happen to make it work. And then what do? You draw your line, and you're in pretty good shape. Okay, so that pretty much covers GC1 and GC2.